Hey everybody, we are back finally to sort of wrap up, or not wrap up, just work some more on the hair here. I want to show you guys what I would do to, take this a little bit further, give it a little bit more variation and whatnot. So what I'm going to do first here, I'm going to go ahead and turn the horns off just to get them out of the way. And what I've got here, it's a sort of a custom brush I made. I use it for hair, for doing smaller details on hair. And I just sit there and sort of go back and forth with the positive and negative on it. And I'm going to want to come over here first, turn the lazy mouse up a little bit. All it is, it started out as a clay buildup, and then I just used this alpha that comes with ZBrush and went over to stroke and just messed with it till I can't remember what I did exactly, but just messed with it until I got a nice smooth stroke. And here it might be easier to see if I'm going to flip over to a different material here. It's got a little bit more shading just so we can see what's going on. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the main chunk of hair here and split those little parts off so I don't bump into them when I'm sculpting here. Yeah, at this point I just do an awful lot of this. Just sort of change the size up back and forth a lot. Let it overlap. And see if you hit it at slightly different angles each time, you'll get these where it sort of overlaps and gives you what look like just a little bit of a variation without it looking too straight. And I'll give you just a nice look, and it's, I like doing things more the sculptor way than adding it in using different brushes and whatnot. I still think very much like I did when I would have been doing this in clay or wax. And something else I like to do, I'm perfectly fine with the way this looks, but just sometimes it'll help to come over here to alpha, and if you come down here to H tiles and move it over to 2, you now get a doubling. You get like 2 of the alpha side by side. And that's fine. It's not really what I'm going for here, but it'll give you more of a, smaller detail area. See, it's not bad. It's not, I'm not wanting hair that fine on this, so we're going to go back and just change that back. But that's just something you can do. Sometimes that works out and helps, and and then smooth it out a tiny bit. Yeah, it's not bad looking. It's not. I want thicker variation here. I don't want to go into that much. Showing that individual hairs there. See, it's nice though. It's not bad. Just not what I'm going for right now. I like things to be not exactly super clean looking. Vary the size of the strokes. Yeah, that'll just give you a, oh no, very nice sculpted look, which is what I like doing. Not necessarily, and there are places where it, you look at from different angles, it might be off a little bit. Just want to push and pull it to make sure it's interesting from each direction. But yeah, that's how I'll generally go by and get it fairly close to being done. And you can sit there and go back and forth and just do this as much as you want. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be smooth, and can be off in places. There's not a thing wrong with that. Yeah, I'm not going to do all of this right now because this is like possibly hours worth of working on her hair. Yeah, I wanted to show you all that. And then what I'll do with like these little bits that I put in before, switch over to those. I'll generally just sort of grab one. They just add a little bit of variation that you can't get with the sculpting. The main chunk of hair. And if you're going to be printing it, you'll want to make sure you don't have a lot of undercuts. I mean, if you're printing, it doesn't really matter that much. If you're going to be printing and then making molds and stuff off of it, you'll want to watch that you don't have a lot of undercuts under each part. Yeah, with these little flyaway pieces too, you can Have some of them go against the main flow of the hair. They don't necessarily have to follow it exactly. Just anything really to add some interest. Just really don't want the piece to be boring. Yeah, see, that would be a pain molding, but printing, maybe, maybe not. And then once I've got these parts smooth, just using smooth to get that a little more pointed on the end. Once they're about the way I want them, they're still pretty basic. They have not a lot of resolution there. So what we're going to do is come down and you can come down under dynamic, hit that and see. That's all right. I mean, they're sort of rounded. I'll usually come down here to crease. And I'm not going for anything specific. I just want to have somewhere that it's going to have an edge to it. And see, when I creased it, these got an edge. Most of the edges are sort of down low. See, like right along there. It just gives you, I don't know, something to go along as you put detail on those. So I'm going to come back up to dynamic and go ahead and I'll move this smooth up to 3 and hit apply. Then I always come up here and just delete lower. And then down here under Dynamesh, again, make sure it's blurred and zoom out a little bit. And make sure groups are on, just so we keep them separate. And I'm going to hit Dynamesh. I'm actually going to undo that. I'm going to up the resolution a little bit and make sure groups is hit. And Dynamesh. And then I'm going to come back up here. I can either use the hairbrush. Most of the time with these little flyaway things, I've got 2 or 3 brushes I've gotten offline or I've gotten from friends. Just anything that will give you a sharp line, like these Macut. I can't, yeah, you can see his name there. He made these brushes. And they're really good. They're good for doing mech stuff, but they're good for just getting a hard edge on things. A lot of the time I'll use this Pillow Slash. A friend of mine, Chris Tackett, came up with this. It's a real good brush for this sort of thing. And I'll just drag it along just to get a little bit of detail on these little parts. I'm not real big on making my own brushes. I'm not that good at it. Every now and then I will, but it's usually something really oddly specific I use for like one job just because I couldn't find the kind of brush I needed. Here, I'm going to up the intensity on this a little bit. Move the size down. Oh, too much. I also want to make sure that I've got back face mask on so I'm not messing up the geometry on the other sides of these parts. Oops. Yeah, and just go through and sort of randomly. And this one, I've got this one tucked in here. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you want. I mean, there's not any right or wrong. People always seem to have this, I don't know, fear that they're going to do things wrong in ZBrush, and they're, I mean, it's whatever you want. I mean, there's not any right or wrong. People always seem to have this, I don't know, fear that they're going to do things wrong in ZBrush, and they're, I mean, it's whatever you want. I mean, there's not any right or wrong. People always seem to have this, I don't know, fear that they're going to do things wrong in ZBrush, and they're, infinite number of ways to do every single thing, and it's whatever, everybody's got their different way. I mean, like I came from traditional sculpting, so I've got a different way of seeing how things ought to be done, and then you've got other guys who started out doing this stuff and they see it as more, you know, build it up from the forms out, and where they see it much more, oh no, they've been doing digital a lot longer, and so they've got a feel for that more. And then these little things hanging on here, I would just a little just something sort of interesting to I don't know, it's just, I'm going to hook that in there. It's just, you know, something else to add a little bit of detail to her here. Yeah, it's pretty much what I would be doing for the rest of this. Maybe add some more flyaways here and there. Oops, wrong one. Yeah, and like through here. Might want to break that up a little bit right there. Brush. Just set it pretty small. Like I said, you can go as small as you want with the I mean, this is about where I'm pretty happy. It depends on what scale you're going to be making this or what you're going to be doing with it. A little above Widow's Peak. But yeah, that's basically what I would do to finish up there, and I just keep going, you know, till it's done. This isn't exactly, you know, really complicated hairstyle either. I didn't want to do anything too weird. But yeah, that's pretty much it for how I would finish up hair. I guess I'll be doing another one of these hopefully in a week or so. This one I just wanted to finish up the hair. The next one, I have no idea what to do. If anybody has any ideas, say something and I'll maybe get to it. Hope you guys enjoyed it and got a little bit out of that one. I know it was a little bit shorter, but there wasn't a lot left to really do on it from the first time around on the hair. Hope you all liked it and keep watching. Thanks a lot.